Hello y'all. Hopefully your break went well. I'm gonna make these videos just to explain the worksheet while I'm gone. So the way it's gonna work is I'll do some of the problems and then you're going to finish up the rest. So let's get started with the do not. The do not says what is the definition of parallel lines. Okay. You should write down that parallel lines are lines that never intersect. Okay, but also talk about their slope. That parallel lines always have same slope. Okay, that is very important. That is a key concept today's lesson. That parallel lines always have same slope. You need to use that. Okay. All right. So here is a refresher on how to find slope. Obviously, the slope formula is m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. Make sure you label your coordinates: x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, and then just substitute. So you're gonna get 8 minus negative 10 over 7 minus 1. That up top, that's just going to be 18 divided by 6. Make sure you're always simplifying your fractions. So this is just 3. Now looking back at unit 3, what do you know about slope of parallel lines? Again, you should write down the same thing here, that they have same slope. Okay. All right, so in this video, we're going to do proofs. Now, these proofs are different than the ones we did in the past with statement reasons. These proofs involve quadrilaterals. So today, we're going to do proofs involving parallelograms only, okay? So here's how you do it. Whenever you're doing a proof about a shape, what you have to do is prove the definition of that quadrilateral. Okay, for example, when we're saying it's a parallelogram, all right, remember that parallelogram has two sets of parallel lines. So basically all we have to do is prove that there are two sets of parallel lines. And the way we do that is by showing that opposite sides are parallel. Another way to think about it is that you have to use slope formula to show that they have same slope. Okay, so all you have to do is use the slope formula to show they have same slope. For example, let me give you an example. Let's say we have, actually, let me draw a different one. Let me draw it like this. All right, so let's say we have this parallelogram right here. The slope of this is 1 over 2. Then the slope of the bottom one must also be 1 over 2. If the slope of this one is negative 2 over 3, the slope of the right one must also be negative 2 over 3. All right, that's what you have to show, that the opposite sides have same slope. So all you have to do is use the slope formula to show opposite sides have same slope. And once you show that they have same slope, you can just say that it is indeed a parallelogram. Now, here's something you have to be very careful about. You will see this, okay? You might get slope of, let's say, 2 over 4. So you might think, wait a second, we don't have same slope. But that is not true. What you did not do is simplify this. So you always have to make sure that you simplify your fractions. So this is indeed just 1 over 2. So yes, they do have same slope. So be very careful with that. Make sure you're always simplifying your fraction. All right. So let's go ahead and look at question number 1. Given a quadrilateral, they give us a quadrilateral ABCD, and then they give us the coordinates. They want us to prove it is a parallelogram. So the first thing we're going to do is always graph your quadrilateral. So let's go ahead and graph it. I'm gonna use blue. -2, comma 4, right here. B is 4, comma 1. C is 2, -3. And then D is -4, 0. Okay, right here. Okay, so we have to show that this right here is a parallelogram. Okay, so what we have to do is find the slope of the opposite sides. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's find the slope of AB first. Okay, so slope of AB. Remember, the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so I'm just going to use these coordinates x1, y1, x2, y2 and substitute it. So I'm going to get 1 minus 4 over 4 minus -2. So this is -3 over 6. If you simplify that, you get -1/2. Okay, all right, so now let's go ahead and find the slope of the opposite side, which is CD. Same exact concept. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So substitute it, you get 0 minus -3, -4 minus 2. So you get 3 over -6, which is 1 over -2. Remember, it doesn't matter where the negative is. Okay, it can be up top, in the middle, or at the bottom. The negative is for the entire fraction. So these two are indeed the same exact thing. Okay, all right, so we just proved that AB is parallel to CD, but we're not done, because a parallelogram does not have one set of parallel lines. It has two sets of parallel lines. So we must also show that slope of AD is also same as slope of BC. So let's go ahead and do that as well. Slope of AD. Okay, so let's go ahead and relabel our coordinates. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So you're going to get 0 minus 4 over -4 minus -2, which is -4 over -4 plus 2 is 2. So that is, it's -2 actually. So that's just 2. Okay? All right, so let's go and find slope of BC, which is going to be, I'm going to label -3 minus 1 over 2 minus 4, -4 over -2, which is also 2. Okay, so now you can see how these two slopes are the same, and then these two slopes are also the same. So that means we just proved that it is a parallelogram because opposite sides are parallel since they have same slope. Okay? All right, so at the end, the last thing you're going to do is going to write down a sentence. Why it is a parallelogram. So the way it's going to start is whatever they wanted you to prove, you're going to write that first. For example, they wanted you to show that ABCD is a parallelogram. Okay, so you're going to write that down first. ABCD is a parallelogram. Then you're going to write because. And then after because, you're going to write down the definition of parallelogram. Because it has two sets of parallel lines. Okay? All right, and then in parentheses, you can also write down that they have same slope. Therefore, they are parallel. All right, that's it. We're done. So all we have to do whenever, again, so to recap, if you're trying to prove a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, all you have to do is prove the definition of parallelogram, which is that there are two sets of parallel lines. Okay? All right, so you're going to do question number 2, 3. Yo, change that to a parallelogram. Okay. I don't know why I did not do that, but yeah, change that to a parallelogram. And then you're also going to do that certificate. All right, very similar concept. Okay, just use the slope formula and show that opposite sides have the same slope. All right, I'll see you in the next video.